It's been several months remodeling and updating my home office, creating a workplace for myself as a solopreneur. Hello, I'm Matthew Encina, and in this video, I'll give you a tour of my now complete home office and show you how I work in it. Before I begin, I want to thank ASUS for sponsoring this video. If you've been following along in this series, you've seen me build this space from scratch. If you haven't seen the other episodes, I'll share a link to the entire playlist in the description below. Along this series, many of you have asked some great questions about me and the work I do. So in this episode, I'll do my best to answer your frequently asked questions. To start, I'll give you a quick overview of my completed home office. Overall, I wanted to design a space that was functional and beautiful, with plenty of surface area to work on, storage to organize my gear, and flows with how I work, giving me easy access to the tools I use most frequently, while keeping everything organized and visually hidden when not in use. Aesthetically, I went for a simple look that used white oak as the base material, white and gray as the secondary colors, and pops of orange throughout as an accent. I made sure that my personality came through, so I proudly displayed books, collectibles, and artwork that represent me and my interests, which include comics, plants, and music. For me, having a well-lit space is conducive to productivity, so throughout my whole office, I've installed smart lighting that syncs together and can be customized for various uses whenever I want to shift the mood. One important aspect of my home office is having everything connected, which brings me to the sponsor of today's video, ASUS ZenWiFi. ASUS ZenWiFi is a mesh Wi-Fi 6 system that provides complete coverage everywhere in my home. Whether I'm at my desk or want to mix things up and work at the kitchen table, I know I'll have a strong connection wherever I go. At any given time, I might have multiple devices fighting for my Wi-Fi, like my smart home devices, gaming and streaming consoles, and of course the computers I use for work. Luckily, with ASUS ZenWiFi, it allows multiple devices to connect to it on different bands while automatically prioritizes which devices need the most speed, so everything runs smoothly. If I want to prioritize a specific task on the network, like streaming or file sharing, I can easily control that with the tap of a button on the ASUS router app, allowing my work to take priority when needed. The ASUS ZenWiFi series comes in black or white and in multiple models to suit your coverage needs. It's easy to set up using the ASUS router app, which takes 3 steps and just a few minutes. If you're interested in upgrading your own Wi-Fi network at home, check out the ASUS ZenWiFi family series by clicking the link in the description below. Thank you ASUS for sponsoring this video. Now I'll answer some of the questions you've asked me. Many of you have asked, what do I do for a living? Previously, I spent a decade directing TV commercials and music videos. In the past few years, I've been creating content for an education company called The Future. As of February 2021, I went off on my own to explore new ventures and utilize the skills and relationships I've developed. Since then, I've focused mostly on making video content for this channel and doing work for some select clients. This includes writing scripts, pitching ideas, filming, editing, and doing some creative consulting. I have some very exciting projects going on in the next few months, which I can't announce yet, but we'll share more about it later in the year. On my previous desk, I had a video conferencing setup, which I had to rethink for my latest configuration. For me personally, I don't enjoy seeing my video equipment out on my desk all the time, but I do want it accessible for when I need to hop on a video call. So I updated my setup with a lightweight mirrorless camera and a shotgun mic, which are hidden behind my monitor. For the camera, I bought a Fujifilm X-E4 with a 35mm f1.4 lens. While there are better options out there for video streaming, I chose this camera with a dual purpose in mind, because I plan to use this on the go to take photos when I travel or I'm on set. This is mounted on a camera pedestal, which is screwed into the studs on my wall. Originally, I tried to use my old 80D DSLR camera here, but it was far too heavy for this arm, making it sag. The X-E4 and lens are very compact, weighing only about 1.5 pounds. This plugs into my computer using a USB cable, and the Fujifilm webcam app. For audio, I'm using the Rode NTG5 condenser mic, which is mounted on a flexible gooseneck arm that is clamped onto my monitor arm. This is connected to my computer through a Rode audio interface, which is mounted to my desk using 3M command strips. It's completely overkill, but the good people over at Rode had sent this to me to try out, so I thought I'd use it in my setup. This is an example of what it looks and sounds like in the setup. To monitor the sound, I use my TMA2 headphones, which sound amazing and fit comfortably over my ears. For lighting, I try to utilize the natural window light, which I can soften or black out with my motorized roller shades. I use my hue lights as supplementary lighting. When it gets dark, I have a play bar mounted behind the monitor and a desk lamp which I crank up for when I'm on a call. These bounce soft lighting onto my face. This configuration altogether looks and sounds amazing, and the best part is that it can conveniently hide behind my monitor when not in use. Many of you have asked how I store and organize my files. Since I do mostly video work, I need quite a bit of storage for my projects. The main computer I work off of is my 16-inch MacBook Pro, which has an 8TB solid-state drive in it. I bought this when I was going back and forth to the office at my previous job, so I built my workflow completely around this. I tend to only keep a few projects on here locally to utilize the fast speeds of the SSD. Because I work with a few remote freelancers and clients, I have a Dropbox business account which gives me unlimited cloud storage and the ability to share and sync files seamlessly with my team online. I also have a network attached storage, or NAS for short, which I use to store all of the old video projects that I don't need access to very often. The reason I have this NAS is because it can store a massive amount of data, which is expandable up to 252 terabytes for this model. I can also access it remotely via cloud, and it's redundant, so if one hard drive fails in it, I can replace it and it will repair itself. To summarize, I use my local solid-state drive for current projects, which is synced to Dropbox for when I need to collaborate. And when projects are completed, I move them over to my network-attached storage for archive. For offsite backups of my most important files, I utilize my unlimited Dropbox cloud storage as well. Typically, I have 2 to 3 projects going on at any given time, and many more in the queue. To keep track of everything, I have a very simple system I use. For all of my projects, I created a database of all of them in Notion, my favorite project management and organization tool. Here I can see the projects I need to focus on right now, and click into them to see the details. When I'm done, I mark it as complete and the project gets archived away from my focused view. If I want to see all the projects in the queue, I can easily load them up and add a new one to my focus list. Each project is organized by different buckets in my life, like YouTube projects, client work, and other business, which I can add to whenever a new project pops up. I try to limit my focus on the important projects at the moment and leave everything else in the queue till I'm ready for them. For daily tasks, which often relate to my projects, I use the analog system by Ugmonk. It's a simple to-do system that I load up each week and knock out as I complete them. When I'm done, I load a new card and transfer anything I didn't get to from the previous week. Both of these tools have been effective for me to manage short and long-term projects. If you're interested in my Notion template, I've created a separate video for it, which I'll link for you below. To film my videos, I use a Canon EOS R6 for my main camera and Canon EOS R for my secondary camera. All of my gear is stored in 2 places in my office. My camera and accessories are put away overhead in this Besta storage unit, and my oversized gear, like my tripods, are put into this rolling storage bin underneath my secondary desk. Since I mostly film myself, I utilize this Manfrotto tripod with a fluid head. More recently, I picked up this motorized Edelkrone slider, which helps me capture smooth, slow-moving tracking shots, which I can control with the app on my phone. For my lenses, I've collected all 3 of the Canon trifecta. For about 80% of my shots, I use the 24 to 70mm. To capture ultra-wide shots, I use the 15 to 35mm, And lastly, I use the 70 to 200mm for extreme close-up and detail shots. These three lenses give me the range to frame everything I need for my videos. To capture audio, I use the VideoMic Pro Plus and the VideoMic NT-G, both by Rode and both amazing at getting clean audio. To edit my videos together, I use Adobe Premiere. I've previously made a video covering my start-to-end filmmaking process, which I'll link for you below if you want to learn more. And that completes the tour of my home office and some of the work I do in it. Of course, I can go deeper on any of the subjects we covered today and others. So if you're curious about something, let me know in the comments. I read all that you post to me and I do my best to respond to what I can. Your feedback has been helpful for me to shape the content on this channel, so thank you. If you're curious about the things you've seen in this video or other content I've mentioned, I've left links to everything in the description below. With that out of the way, it's time to get back to work.